Hello and welcome to day 3 of our 6-day challenge, the 6 pillars of effective permanent weight loss. So Lori Montre, certified Nuari method trainer and trauma-informed eating psychology coach. This is the place for us to lay out that exact 6-part roadmap that's going to allow you to end emotional eating and develop a free and nourishing relationship with food. These are the same pillars that I teach over an 8-month period in my Freedom program. And this challenge is really meant to give you that roadmap, to show you the big picture, to help you get awareness about the real steps that change your relationship with food and thereby change your life. Today's pillar is all about habits, building them and changing them. You know, a lot of what we do in life is done simply due to habit. A lot of what you do with food is due to habit. And this day of the challenge is going to give you the opportunity to explore what your unwanted habits are with food and start to build the habits that serve you better. There's a very exact way that we can go about building and changing habits that is effective and so much more efficient than the ways that we've tried in the past. Now, if you've used food lots of times in the past to meet your needs, like to liven up a boring evening or to soothe angry or hurt feelings, or in certain situations, eating at a restaurant or after a long week, your brain has become habituated to that action, just like with any other action that you have repeated over and over. For example, if you have a habit of eating ice cream every night while you're watching TV, you probably feel like you have to eat ice cream when you watch TV, right? Regardless of whether you want it or even thinking about it. And you may tell yourself, when you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning, that's it. I am not eating ice cream in front of the TV again. But when evening comes, you forget your promises. You're right back in front of the TV and with the ice cream again, or whatever it is, your specific habits. That's just one example. So what's happened is that the first time you ate that ice cream in front of the TV, it felt pretty good, right? And a very, very thin neural pathway was formed through that action. And then each and every time you took that same action, that pathway was strengthened and it became easier and easier to eat the ice cream while watching TV. And by easier, what I mean is that it was done with less forethought thought, less effort, less conscious choice, so that at some point eating ice cream in front of the TV became automatic. Now, this is beautiful, the beautiful efficiency of the brain, right? It's not a bad thing. It's actually the thing that allows you to crawl into bed every night with minty teeth, right? Without really thinking about whether or not you should brush your teeth. And it's the thing that allows you to put your foot on the brake pedal whenever you see a red light without thinking about it. It's also the thing that allows you to perfect your breaststroke, your moonlight sonata, or your golf swing. Having an efficient brain is amazing, except when you're trying not to eat ice cream in front of the TV. But when you understand what's happening, how the brain can develop new habits and replace the old ones that don't serve you, you can harness the power of that brain to take action that's consistent with your goals. You're not stuck with anything. That's the beautiful part of being a neuroplastic human being. Now, today I'm going to give you an abbreviated version of the habit building formula that I use with my clients to change their behavior in the most effective and efficient way. Now, it won't be, you're not going to hear this information. You're not going to take down the steps and then walk into your life breaking and building habits willy-nilly, right? It's going to take some time and some practice. And of course, doing things with support and guidance is always the way that it's going to work out best. But just keep in mind, you don't have to change everything overnight for you to be a success. And as you're going to hear over and over again, I encourage you to have on your scientific lab coat. Adopt the attitude of, isn't that interesting? When you set yourself up with a new habit and it doesn't go exactly the way that you wanted it to, right? And you might end up falling back into your old behavior. The answer is not to say, oh, great, I failed. Try harder next time, right? And berate yourself. The answer is to say, what was it about this situation that made it hard for me? Is there a way I could provide better for myself so I have a better chance of taking the action I want? Learning from your experiences instead of just labeling them as failures or successes is going to help you revise and empower yourself to keep taking baby steps towards your goals. So with all this in mind, Let's dive into the habit loop and the habit changing method that we're going to use to get you where you want to go. So in order to understand it a little bit better, I just want to go into and remind you about the habit loop. The habit loop is when we encounter a cue, right, which leads to a familiar routine or action, which is followed by a reward of some kind. So let's do another example. Arriving home late. This is one I hear a lot. You've had a stressful, busy day, and you head straight to the pantry and start eating while you're preparing dinner, and then throughout much of the night. The reward there is pleasure release. As humans, we will always choose what's closest to pleasure and furthest from pain when we're only focused on the short term. So in the moment when you're choosing whether to eat mindlessly from the pantry or not, your brain recognizes that the food is going to bring pleasure and resisting the food is going to cause pain. Unfortunately, the part of the brain that's driving these behaviors is not focused on the long-term effects of eating from the pantry while you're making dinner every night. Moreover, moving away from this behavior is going to bring about some discomfort in the short term. Now, as we have been kind of talking about here today, all habits start as a way to escape the present moment, return to a more peaceful and calm state, right? So to some degree, food has been able to provide you with that escape. And then as you repeatedly turn to food when you're bored, restless, scared, overwhelmed, etc., in certain situations, a habit took hold. Now, your habituated brain is concerned with keeping your habit alive. It believes that it is protecting you from whatever it was that sent you to food that first time. This is the basis of many of the urges that you currently feel. But urges are simply thoughts or feelings that tell you you have to act on your habit. These urges are very powerful. They can make you feel like you have no choice but to reach for food in situations where you always have. The urges can make you feel, honestly, like if you don't eat, if you don't act on the urge, you're going to die, right? I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. At that moment, like you have so many times in the past, you acted on impulse. And when we act on impulse, your entire brain's not engaged, only your lower primal primitive brain. And that brain is only concerned in the short term. Now, sometimes I refer to that as the primal brain, the lizard brain. And your higher brain, which is prefrontal cortex, that's the part that evaluates whether your actions are consistent with your long-term goals, right? In those habit moments, that part of your brain is not engaged, okay? So the more time your habit is repeated, the easier it is to simply slip into whatever without any thought whatsoever, without using your higher brain. You may feel like I'm possessed by some unseen force, right, that has control over me. But no, this is not invasion of the body snatchers. This is a natural process that's easily understood by brain science. You've performed this behavior so many times in the past that your efficiency-loving brain has decided it no longer needs to bother asking you if you want to do it or not. So rather than asking you, the lower brain just drives the car, puts everything in motion to save the time and energy associated with having to make that decision. Your primal brain is just so pleased to be helping you and protecting you, right, from whatever danger or pain that it's perceiving. So the key to ending this type of behavior is to identify it, use the process I'm offering you to support you in creating different habit that leads to your desired behavior. When you know the places where you're vulnerable, right, your triggered situations, you can use your higher brain to make a supportive plan. And you can do that outside the moment first so that it's there for you and showing up. By showing your brain that there is a different choice that can be made, you get to be part of the decision-making process. You can begin to do things like the person you're becoming instead of the person you've been in the past. Now, as the women in the Freedom Program, they strengthen their choosing muscle in a way that allows them to leave habit in favor of behaviors that feel much more satisfying and that give freedom with food, right? So, as I said, I'm going to give you the abbreviated version of the habit changing process. There's a little more to it, and of course, a lot of refining that happens in the actual program. But I invite you to try it on. There's a worksheet in the integration workbook that you can download and work with it more easily. Okay, there's more, flush out the steps a little bit more there. So, but basically, you're going to decide on the behavior you want to change or build. And then you're going to create a gentle stepping stone plan for working towards that. Does not mean you go all in and start to implement your ultimate goal on day one. It means you decide on the single step that you want to take over the next 7 days in order to get slightly closer to your end goal. The key to a good plan is that it feels relatively easy. The initial plan and all of your stepping stones will have your ultimate goal in mind, but it's not necessary or even advisable to go all in right away. You're going to consult your aligned, your higher self, the person you're becoming, for direction. Now, once your new plan is kind of in place, you're going to do your best to follow it, but perfection is not necessary. It's important not to fall into judgment when you're trying, but you're not carrying things out exactly as you would like to. Then you're going to evaluate your stepping stone every week and decide how well your plan is suiting you and what adjustments you might want to make. So we could take the example from above, right, and talk about what would an initial plan look like. So first of all, we'd want to deal with the stress that's in the background of this situation, right? On your way home from work, you could use your car time to start unwinding. This could look like some deep breathing, checking in with your thoughts, your emotions, your needs. And then you could visualize yourself carrying out your new plan before you actually get home. You could arrive at home ready to face the situation in which you're normally very vulnerable in a space where you have access to your higher brain. The decompression time in the car could reconnect you with your higher self and empower you to choose your new behavior. So a new plan could look like, after you do that decompression time, you come home and immediately you go to the bedroom, change into something comfortable, right? This would serve as an interrupt to the normal pattern of heading straight to the pantry, and it would hopefully help you feel a little more relaxed. After that, your plan could be come to the kitchen, put on some relaxing or energizing music, prepare yourself a small but delicious snack. Maybe that's like some almonds and apples, something like that, right? And have it on a plate for yourself. This would allow you to eat this, more mindfully and savor it while you prepare for dinner, right? Then you could sit and enjoy the dinner that you're spending time and energy preparing. After the first week of trying that plan, you would sit down, evaluate how it worked for you, make changes to further your progress, or make it easier to follow depending on your needs. So the process that I offer to you, and in this example, what we want to do is offer you the opportunity to look at one of the habits that you can identify in your own life, craft a stepping stone routine for handling it. And of course, I want to help you do that. So post your reflections, send me your questions, and make sure to sign up for a one-on-one coaching call free with me. And really just get to work on creating this new possibility for yourself. Okay, so the link to sign up for the free call is in the daily emails, and it's in the post with the video each day. And I really encourage you to take advantage of the support this week, right? It can lead to real shifts and ultimately to your freedom. And as you work on this pillar and all the others, it's important to get that guidance and support so you can get that during the challenge by posting in the Facebook group, reaching out by email, or scheduling that call. So I so look forward to hearing about the habit that you're choosing to shine a light on and how you're going to support yourself and take small but meaningful steps along the way to get exactly to where you want to go. All right, my dears, I look forward to supporting you as we go through the rest of our days together.